Hello, everyone. I'm Maureen Craig. I'm one of the academic advisors here at CU, College of Engineering, and for the Aerospace Engineering Advising. So today we're going to go over quite a few things with you, and we will have time for Q&A at the end. So definitely know that we'll be able to do some of that as well. So some of the things we're going to go over today are curriculum and course sequencing, what a typical first semester schedule ought to look like, a little bit into your AP, IB, transfer credit info as well if you have any of that, registering for classes, how to make appointments with your academic advisor, our contact info, and again, just save your questions for the end and we'll definitely address those when we are done.
And for questions, you can use the Q&A chat box because we can't hear you. You can only hear us, so we can't hear you. So if you have questions, just type them in the Q&A area.
All right, so we'll kind of go into what a typical course sequence looks like. So let me click on that here. And since you all are coming in for fall 2018, we will go ahead and look at that. And this is all on our department website. So if you look up here, this is where we list kind of a typical fall semester and then underneath the typical spring semester for your first year here. One thing I will show you, and it's highlighted on this document, is that our degree takes a C or better for your minimum grade in a course. Please note that other engineering departments here in our college will accept a C-. We do not. So just so you don't get confused, you might hear friends or other people you may know in other degrees that a C- is okay. It is not for us in aerospace. So we'll look over here. A lot of our students start off with Calc 1. Even if they are coming in with credit for Calc 1 from either a concurrent enrollment program in high school, or even some people with AP credit, they've done well enough on the exam they could transfer in credit. So a lot of people will still retake Calc 1 here. Then we have another option here, Engineering Projects course. You can either enroll in GENE 1400 or ASEN 1400. So either of those courses are fine. Know that you can also take those in the spring if you're not able to work one of those out in your schedule for fall. So definitely know that's a spring option as well for both of those course options. Computer Science is this CSCI 1320 right here. Again, this is a course that if it doesn't work out for you this semester, you can take it in the spring. This course, some of you are hopefully going to be pre-enrolled or batch enrolled in this course already. And that happened due to your score on your Calc 1, your Calc readiness exam that you took. And so that's something you're going to look for to see if that's you when you go to actually enroll in your classes. So that will be something to make note of. Then we recommend definitely a lower division humanities course. Again, this is something that you may or may not need depending on what you're bringing in here, but a lower division humanities can be a good way to break up the semester. So that's something we recommend. And then this free elective that's listed here is the calculus work group. So it's something that we get feedback on as being very helpful for students, but know that it is completely optional. So just know that that's an optional course that we've gotten good feedback on that it's helpful. Spring semester, as you see, you'll move into Calc 2. You'll take this materials science course, ASEN 1022. That is only offered in the spring, so we definitely want to make sure you get into that course. And then we have Physics 1 here. Know that Physics 1 is a course that, let's say you couldn't get into your computer science course for fall, you could definitely consider taking Physics 1 instead. So just know that there's some things you can flip around between these two semesters if need be. And again, here we have lower division humanities courses. And here we actually have 2 plotted for you. That way you could ideally get that requirement met within your first year of being here at CU. So all options, so definitely think about. Okay. So we kind of just talked about the second point. Let me go back. Okay, thank you. So our second point here where we say keep in mind that all prerequisite and core classes, which include your math, physics, computer science, your engineering projects, ASEN courses, and what we call professional area electives require that C or better. And if you don't earn a C, the course will need to be retaken. So that's just something to keep in mind. So again, we went over what a typical first semester, fall semester course load should look like, so we don't need to go back over that. Okay, now we're going to talk a little bit about AP, IB transfer courses. Let me go there. So this is located in your university catalog. And if you look right in here, we've got tabs for, kind of whatever you have done in high school. If you were in IB school, you would look on the IB tab. AP, a little bit more typical for us, but we do definitely look at both. This is, some people know this as CLEP. Not very common out here, but just know that you can also look that up as well. So we'll just look at AP very briefly. So let's say, let me scroll down here to math. So let's say you took the Calculus AB course and you earned a 4. Well, you're going to get credit for Calculus 1 here at CU Boulder. And the way you can tell that is it's showing the course that you actually get credit for and how many credits you're going to be awarded. So you can kind of see the breakdown of what your score is and what you get awarded and how many credits you're going to earn. So that's how you can use this chart to see how that looks. Okay, next we're going to talk about Calc 1 again. I mentioned this briefly, but I just want you to be aware. We do have the Applied Math Department have all of their exams, so pretty much everything they've done last few years, I think, are uploaded onto their website, where you can go in there and take finals and midterms if you would like to. We recommend students do this if they are on the fence and not sure if they want to move on to the next level of calculus. So let's say you transferred in Calc 1 for your AP, so you earned credit for Calc 1, and you think you're ready to move on to Calc 2. We want to be sure that that is the case for you, and a way to do that is for you to take one of the archived exams. So you'll take it like it's real, you'll time yourself, not use a calculator, you'll follow their directions, and see how you do. If you feel pretty good about that information, then you could consider moving on to the next level. If not, great, take Calc 1 with us. Just start from scratch. A lot of students do this, and it is something that we definitely recommend for some students. So your AP scores aren't received by CU until early July. So just know that if you have one of those earlier registration windows, this is something that we're going to have to take into account for you. If you have a later registration window, those should have all been processed, and you should see your AP credit on your degree audit at that point in time.
All right. Thank you so much, Maureen, for going over some of the curriculum. My name is Andrew Borum, and I am the advisor for students with the last name A through H. So welcome to the webinar once again. I'm going to walk us through a couple of screenshots just so you can get a little bit more familiar with where to go when you're looking through your MyCU info page. So this is what that page looks like when you're in your MyCU info. You'll see that there are several important tabs here. Anything in terms of a hold or to-do items, you'll see right here at this tab, the little red indicator if there's anything that you need to do prior to enrollment dates or just in general. Here, you'll see the actual enrollment dates and the registration tab as well. So just really, this is a one-stop shop place for you to be able to get a lot of things done. So ordering official transcripts, tracking your progress, that's going to be a huge one, such as running your degree audit or looking at any kind of credits that are coming in from a different school or any AP as well. So just be familiar with this page, play around a little bit with it, just explore, because it's going to be something that you use throughout your entire time here at CU, and it will be very helpful moving forward, knowing how to navigate this page. And once again, as we move forward in this presentation, just saving all those questions till the end so we can answer them collectively. So as I move to the next screenshot here, this is basically where it takes you to see and run a degree audit and to see your transfer evaluations. So you'll see here that there is a program listed for a degree. Let me go back. So this is where you can run your degree audit. Now, your degree audit is basically a reflection of all of your credit that you've amounted thus far. So as you move through the program, you'll see that more classes are going to be checked off that degree audit as lighting up green, and we will probably be going over these with you throughout your 4 years here to make sure that you are successfully completing each requirement of the degree. So the additional tab there at the top, indicated by that red box and red arrow, is where you'll go if there's any classes and other things transferring in. So if you click that tab, it'll take you to a page that looks like this. So this is what a typical outline of any kind of transfer coursework that would look like. So for example, you'll see there indicated with the green arrows, it looks like this particular student came in with a program engineering's class, MCS 140. It was evaluated as a direct equivalency of CSCI 1300, which is starting computer. To the right of that, you'll see what the grade was and then how many credits that is coming in as well. As you move a little bit further down, you'll see that physics for science class, that PHY 123, the next evaluation of that was Phys 199 TC. So that is actually not a direct transfer. However, the credit is still coming over. So at that point in time, we would have to follow up with either the department or admissions to see about further evaluation of that. But that's just kind of a brief overview of what that looks like. One other thing that might be common to see is down there indicated by the other green arrow is when it says needs a syllabus. Typically that means that you need to send in a syllabus of that specific course for further evaluation to get credit for that or to see where it can come in as. But that is a brief overview of that, and definitely more detail to that as we meet with you throughout the 4 years if needed.
Okay, so my name is Carmody Learson, and I am also one of the advisors here. For aerospace, I work with students, last names S through Z. And I'm going to talk to you on this next slide about registering for classes. So your first step, and hopefully all of you have already completed your online orientation, just know too that us advisors can see how long you spend on the modules on the orientation. So if you spent like 2 seconds on one, you just clicking through, we might ask you to go back and read those modules again, because even though it says, contact your advisor, all the information you need is right there in that orientation. After you complete that orientation, you'll receive an email, usually within 24 hours, from New Student and Family Programs about selecting a registration window. So starting July 9th, so each Monday starting then is a new registration window. If you don't receive that email for some reason, contact New Student and Family Programs and ask them to send that again, or find out where the email is, because that is your only way to choose an enrollment window to actually enroll in your classes. So it's very important. So starting this week, and I've noticed a few even today, students have been batch enrolled into some courses. This was mentioned earlier. So before you register during your enrollment window, you'll want to see what classes you might already be enrolled in. So if you took that math readiness exam, that's why it was really important for you to take that, because in that batch enrolled you into typically Calc 1 and Computer Science 1320. Some students were batch enrolled into pre-calculus or some other variations of math. Those are case-by-case situations. If you have questions about those and what that might make your schedule look like for fall, you can let your advisor know. But shortly before each student's enrollment window, your advisor will send out an email with more instructions about this, about what else you should add to your schedule. So let's say you're batch enrolled into Calc 1 and Computer Science. We would suggest then adding a projects course, lower division humanities, free elective if you'd like. That was mentioned earlier as well. But don't worry that we will be in contact with you before your enrollment window too, to remind you of what you should be looking for. Now, if you didn't take the math readiness exam by that May 28th deadline, you still want to take that at least a week before your enrollment window, just because if you don't take that, you won't be able to register for any math class at all. So even if you bring in Calc 1 and you want to move into Calc 2 or something, the system won't let you register at all for any math or change math around at all unless you've taken math readiness exam, because they don't know kind of where your starting point is for math. So they need you to take that. So it's important to check your schedule and what you're already registered for, because then you don't need to register for those classes. So if you're already in Calc 1, Computer Science, you don't need to register for them again. Let's see, you will receive, I already mentioned that, you receive an email from us prior to enrollment window with more instructions and information. Let's see, making appointments with your advisor. My CU Hub, if you haven't already played around with that, here's a link to the student guide with instructions on how to use the hub. If you go down here, there's a student user guide right here. So it provides all the instructions you need. So when you click into your CU Hub, you'll see a picture of your advisor's face right there. And you can click on that to view your advisor's schedule time to talk on the phone or meet in person if you need to. Typically with advising, you will meet with your advisor each semester, so fall and spring, to talk about next semester's classes. So you only register for one semester at a time. Other schools might do a year at a time. I'm not sure, but for right now, you're just registering for fall. In the fall, you'll register for spring. And so each semester, you will meet with your advisor to talk about the schedule. You can come in, though, other times, too, if you want to just talk about resources or, other issues that might be related to academics or might not be. But you will see us in your hub. Typically, in the traditional school year, our schedules are viewable about 2 weeks out. Because it's summer, it's a little bit more limited in what we have available, but in the traditional school year, we have more availability on there. Again, here's our contact information, our names, email address, and what students we see. You should have already received emails from us, though, maybe even a few with information and directing back to us in our email if you have questions. Am I forgetting anything before we move into question and answer time? We want to remind.
I'll just want to reiterate the point of taking the math readiness exam, to please do so at least a week prior to your registration window, because that will at least enable you to sign up for a math class. So if you haven't been already pre-enrolled by taking it, you at least have the ability to register yourself when that window opens. So that's definitely an important takeaway for today.
Yeah, do you want to mention?
Yeah, also we want to make sure you understand the shopping cart. So a lot of you are using the shopping cart, which is fantastic, and kind of loading it up with courses and checking things out. Please know that the shopping cart is not an accurate reflection of room in courses right now. So the shopping cart does not mean you're enrolled. It doesn't mean anything serious. It's just like a little planning tool. And it's great, but right now it's kind of odd because of all of these different enrollment windows. So you're not actually seeing what's available when your window will be open. So a lot of students are getting kind of sad or bummed out thinking that there's not room in certain things, but know that there could very well be by the time your enrollment window comes around. So again, use that as a great planning tool just to help make sure you don't have things scheduled at the same time kind of thing. So yeah, it's a great tool. Just ignore for now what you see as like class status and room availability.
Right, because going with that, like let's say you add ASEN 1400 Gateway to Space to your shopping cart and it's showing as full or waitlist only. Each enrollment window, a certain amount of seats will be released during each enrollment window. So that's why it's important during your window to get right online at 8:30 that Monday morning, 8:30 Colorado time, to enroll yourself in those classes. Because Gateway to Space, they might only release like a handful of seats. But again, don't get too discouraged because you can take that in the spring. Or there's another project option, the GEEN 1400. But yeah, right now, yeah, the enrollment windows, as they open up, seats will open as well. So just keep an eye on that, and also be checking for what you are pre-enrolled in also. Okay, so I think, yeah, Q&A time. So if you have questions, you can just type those into the Q&A box. We can answer questions for about like the next 10 minutes or so. Again, we can't hear you, so if you ask questions verbally, we can't hear them. But if you type it out, then we can answer them to the whole group, because I'm sure if you have a question, others do as well. So we'll be here till about 3:30 to answer any of those questions or clarify anything for you. Yeah, and if we think of stuff along the way, we'll talk.
We'll chime in.
Yeah. Okay, what is taken into consideration in the math placement process? That's a good question. All we know from the math department, because that's handled through the applied math department, is that they use some sort of algorithm to use your math placement exam plus your, I believe, GPA, ACT, SAT kind of scores, I believe, too. They mush all that together into this algorithm to kind of create what they think you would be most successful in. But I think the math readiness exam is the biggest indicator of that. If you have more specific questions about that, contacting the applied math department might be a good idea too, since that's not handled directly through aerospace. It's handled through them. What do you guys think? As a pre-engineer, can I enroll in ASEN 1400? And pre-engineering too, you guys have your own webinar as well that we encourage you to attend, because you're not actually aerospace students yet, so we can't really help you quite yet. Pre-engineering has their own advisors and own, your first year will look very similar to aerospace, but we encourage you to talk to your pre-engineering advisor, because we don't have all the best answers for pre-engineering. But unfortunately, pre-engineering cannot get into ASEN 1400 as it's aerospace or students in engineering only.
They have their own projects.
You have your own projects class
which is the same as,
yeah.
Yeah, the pre-engineering projects course is the same as all the other projects courses. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. Let's see, how easy is it to implement a space minor to aerospace engineering curriculum? Is it possible to finish within 4 years? Yeah, with a lot of the minors, especially if they're engineering, math, science related minors, they fit in really well because you can double count on the curriculum sheet. Starting in junior years, you see things for professional area electives. So those are tech electives that you can double count with a minor. So a minor, or because they're like tech STEM kind of courses that you can double count with a minor. So space minor is one of those popular ones where you can take some of those astronomy classes and apply them toward the minor and towards your professional area electives. Also within the space minor, there's 2 upper division humanities courses that are within aerospace that you can take that satisfy your upper division humanities requirements for the major, and then also for the minor. So yeah, a ton of students do minors in everything from space, applied math, astronomy, astrophysics. And we even have students that double major in things across the board. So there are ways to fit all those pieces in. So it's good to know early, but
yeah. The space minor is more of like a humanities minor. It focuses on those requirements more than the one course that is for something that could count as a professional area elective for us. So just so you're aware of that. As far as doable in 4 years, hopefully, that's something you're going to have to kind of plan for. If you're open to summer courses, then the 4-year thing is definitely more doable. But we do have some students that want a certain specific minor, and it may or may not, especially if it doesn't have a lot of crossover, that could potentially take longer than 4 years. So that's something to talk to us about when we have our meetings to plan with you. So
Yeah, especially if you're thinking of a minor or double major outside of the college. Like I have a student who's double majoring with music and aerospace engineering. So it's taking about 5 or 6 years to do that combination. So just keep that in mind. Do recitation sessions count as elective? No, they don't, because they're part of the credits that go with the class. So if you're registering for, let's say, Calc 1 has a recitation, so that's part of your credits for that class. Same thing with labs. They do not count as elective, or they only go towards credit for that particular requirement. How do we incorporate a minor into our course selection? So the first year is a little trickier to incorporate a minor course into your curriculum because it's pretty full. Most of the time, students don't declare minors until their sophomore year anyway,
junior, yeah.
or even junior year. If there's things that you want to take early on, and some of the classes will already count towards a minor. Let's say if you want to do applied math, what you're taking in your first year will count towards that minor anyway. But let's say if you want to do a space minor, astronomy or something, it might be a little trickier to fit that class in. Especially our credit cap is 19 credits. You cannot go over that. And especially as a freshman, we do not recommend going over what's already recommended of the 15 credits in fall and 17 in spring. But you have time to start incorporating those minor classes. So don't worry if something doesn't fit in the fall, because it might take you a little while too to determine what minor you might even want after taking some classes and deciding what you like. You have anything to add with that?
Yeah, some minors too on campus don't allow freshmen to declare.
Yeah.
So there's that too.
Yeah.
But there should be time to get it incorporated later on.
You have at least 4 years to do all you need to do.
Yeah.
I know students get a little worried that I got to fit all this in in a year. No, you don't. You have lots of time. You have lots of time to do everything you want to do. Can the math placement exam be taken? It's on campus, right? A couple days before school starts?
Maybe.
Oh, sorry. That's good. Let's delete the ones we've answered. And then, okay. Learning project lead the way courses that transfer to aerospace. I have not heard of project lead the way, so we're going to look that up really quick about what project lead the way is. If anything, there might be some that count as humanities, but nothing that would count for aerospace specifically.
Is it from a college? Because it has to be a credit-bearing course.
Yeah. We're going to look up what that program is right now. In the meantime, we'll look up Abby's question. Can the math placement exam be retaken? Actually, we're all looking at the project lead the way and then trying to do too many things at once. Trying to see if there's any, because it has to be credit granting courses. We don't accept, nothing will apply to the degree that's kind of just extracurricular activities, but
I'm at a 99% probably no on that, but that could be something to contact admissions about.
Or even
I'm not
project lead the way. You
yeah.
ask them what kind of classes you take for that. And again, if anything, it might be humanities, but it doesn't look like it.
Yeah, I'm not seeing credit bearing. Yeah.
Can the math placement exam be retaken? So when you come for engineering launch, those few days before, the week before school starts, one of those days there's an option to take the exam in person again. But that's the only way. You can't take it online again once you've already taken it online. So then when you're here for lunch, you'll have a schedule, and on that schedule will show when and where that exam will be. You'll take that again, but all it will do is it'll still either say you're in pre-calc or calc 1. It won't like move you on to calc 2 or anything like that. The only way to get credit for math is to either take the course or have AP or something like that. So when you come to campus for lunch, a few days before class starts, that's when you can retake the exam in person. Did you find out more about Project Lead the Way? Okay. These are great questions. And if you think of others, after today, you can always email your advisor too. If I receive a 4 or 5 on the AP Calc, but decide to take Calc 1 at CU, can I use it? Nope, you can't. Sorry. That's just a no. Because, yeah, if you already have credit and you decide to take Calc 1, that's awesome, and we recommend that. But those credits, they're just, they won't go towards anything. You can't get credit twice for the same class. So essentially, you already have credit for Calc 1, and if you do Calc 1 again, you can't get credit twice.
It's a good question, though.
Yeah. It'd be nice, but, can't. Let's see. I thought we had 10. So any last questions before we wrap up? We do have this webinar recorded. If you want to go back to the slides, it's on the webinar website. So you can see those links again and everything there. Again, your advisor is always happy to answer questions as well. If you think of something, like let's say in the middle of the night tonight, you're like, oh yeah, I forgot to ask this thing. We won't answer in the middle of the night, but we will get to it the next day.
All right.
Well, thanks for joining us today. We look forward to having you on campus here in a few months, and we'll be reaching out again soon.
Yeah, we'll talk to you and plan with you right before your enrollment window opens.
Bye.
Bye from all of us. Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for joining us. Okay. All right. See everybody later. When I stop recording, right? Okay.